All right, everybody, we're back with a deck tech. We haven't done one of these in a hot minute, but I noticed when going through my analytics, one thing that consistently comes up is everybody really seems to like to watch my Orvar minute deck tech. So I decided to come over here as that video is a little bit old and it is only a minute. I decided to come through and show you guys what the updated deck list is if you don't already follow me over on Moxfield, or if you don't follow the link from that, because I do believe it is linked in the comments there. But I kind of want to show what we have gotten to after a few years, and I thought it would be kind of a neat thing to get through. That is not what I wanted to do. There we go. So, what we are doing here is we're playing Orvar. We are playing a mono blue Clones Matter deck. This total deck without the basic lands is going to cost you around $113, 114 if we're rounding up, and that's if you don't own any of these cards, and some of these are probably bulk things that you have lying around, so don't think too much about that. The sold summary is according to Architect is about 33. I'm not 100% sure what that means, but there you go. So, Orvar, our commander. We are looking at a 4-drop changeling 3/3. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, if it targets one or more other permanents you control, create a token that is a copy of one of those permanents. When a spell or ability that would cause you to discard Orvar, you can create a token that is a copy of a target permanent. That second half doesn't come up a lot, but it has once or twice. It can be interesting because it is any permanent. It doesn't have to be one of your own. So if you get wheeled and they just bounced Orvar to your hand, at least you can come out with something. But gonna go through just mana-wise. We have 18 1-drops, 18 2-drops, 12 3-drops, 10 4-drops, and 3 5-drops, 3 6-drops, 35 lands. I do usually stay around 35 lands. That does seem to be the sweet spot. If I'm playing one color, a lot of the time I do dip a little bit lower. I do believe in my Goblins deck, which is mono red, that is sitting at around 33 lands because it's not as mana intensive. But for this, and for some obvious reasons that we'll get into, we definitely want to have our land drops. We do want to be able to have multiple land drops if possible as well. So let's just get into it. So some of our more important one drops are obviously we've got Altar of the Brood. Whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent puts the top card of his or her library into his or her graveyard. Um, at minimum, this is a great one drop for us to put down, and it gets removed. It gets a removal out of their hand. There are a lot of situations where I drop this turn one and it's immediately taken care of. But if it's not, it does get out of hand because that is going to be one of our. I'd say there's probably 4 or 5 main cards that we want to copy consistently with Orvar, and Ultra of the Brood is definitely one of them. We have our other very big target for our copies here in our one at as Rune Crab. So pretty simple, and kind of the reason that we want to have that consistent and constant land drop there. Ruin Crab. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent mills 3 cards. I like copying Ruin Crab a lot. I really enjoy copying and having like 4 or 5 Rune Crabs just sitting on the field, making everybody mill 12, 15, and so on cards every time that I play a land. And sometimes I'll start copying my own lands just so I can have more Rune Crab triggers. It is really fun. It's goofy. And again, it's something that eats removal. It's definitely one of the more I'll say a little bit of a meme choice when we come down to it. In our 2 drops, we don't have many copyable things that we really care about. We can copy Sapphire Medallion. I don't typically hit Sapphire Medallion because most of our spells that are blue, it's blue and 2, blue and 1, blue and blue. You know, it's not there's not a lot of things that are reduced past what we're already reducing it with some of our other cards. As well as, for an example, Haughty Djinn up here. Haughty Djinn, instant and sorcery spells cost 1 less to cast. That's hitting half the deck. That is over half the deck being 1 mana, 2 mana. We don't really need to have Sapphire Medallion making things that much cheaper. It's not progressing us that quickly. Um, one of the newer additions, especially since we uh, made that video, is Manic Scribe. Manic Scribe, it's pretty easy for us to hit Delirium in a lot of situations. Um, at minimum, we have this thing enter, it mills everybody 3 cards, and maybe it dies. Maybe it sits there and we block with it. But as soon as we hit that Delirium, which again, I do feel like I hit Delirium relatively quickly with this deck. That's every single upkeep on our turn. Oh no, sorry. I think of each opponent's upkeep. As long as we've got Delirium, they're milling 3. And that's per Manic Scribe. That does come out to be very impactful in a lot of games that we end up playing. If we pop into our 3s, again, kind of obvious. Haughty Djinn is a good copy target. I do copy him a lot, mostly because of the fact that he is a star 4, so he's going to be as big as the amount of instants and sorceries in our graveyard. That can hopefully end a game in a lot of situations. Another card that is relatively newer that has seen a lot of definitely a lot of impact when I've played it is Lunar Insight. So for each different mana value among non-land permanents we control, we get to draw a card. At 3 mana, I've consistently drawn 4 off of this. I've consistently drawn 5 off of this. I rarely have to I rarely have to settle for just having draw 2, draw 1 off of a 3 mana draw spell. I think this is a very undervalued card at the moment, um, especially in a deck that cares so much about having copies and clones of things. It really helps thin out your deck and also helps you get to some of your 1 and 2 drops that allow you to copy. In our 4, again, since the deck initially was made, Cosmos Elixir, this deck does get a lot of hate because, first and foremost, it is a mill deck. Secondarily, it is you know, a deck that is really, really heavy on building a very wide table, but not exactly a very tall and wide table. We have most of our main creatures that we want to keep out are 0/3 and 1/3 and 0, very, very low to the ground and not things that we're going to be attacking with. So Cosmos Elixir, hey, this heals us a couple, or it goes, oh, hey, all right, we have 40 life still. I'm going to draw. I'm going to draw again. I'm going to draw again. These are good. This is another very good copy target, especially when it's paired with something like Teferi's Ageless Insight. If we're going for a Laboratory Maniac win, which that is one of the main ways that I will force myself to win in a lot of situations. Sometimes I don't have that momentum. I'll be getting a lot of the cards that are I'm going to target things, but I'm not getting any of my mill. So I'll start targeting my own things to make myself draw out of my deck quicker. Another card, actually another 2 cards in the 4 slot that we uh, picked up were O'Hare, Pakbatik, Deepest Epoch. Honestly, O'Hare, he does some crazy stuff in this deck. Anytime that we cast a spell, anytime that we cast an instant spell, sorry, from our hand, it gets rebound. So we get to cast it again on our upkeep. Us being able to do that and having multiple free casts on our upkeep on top of some of our other items that we've got, it can get out of hand really quickly if this stays around. Because usually I try and play this on, you know, the next turn, right? I play Orvar and then I play O'Hare, and then I'm wanting to kind of try and go off the next turn. If he stays around, it's great. If he doesn't, he flips over into a land that it's really, really simple for us to flip back over. Uh, this guy, please. All right. Seed double. Uncounterable. 4-drop. If an opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard, we get to do both of these modes. A lot of the time, we do have opponents with 8 or more cards in their graveyard. It's not exactly the highest bar for us to pass. It is a free double copy spell. So, uh, copy target spell, you may choose new targets for the copy. Create a token that is a copy of target creature. So we can play this reactively and say, okay, I'm going to counter that, or I'm going to copy that spell, do its effect as well, and also get a token that's a very important piece. Or, hey, I'm going to make a copy of that really important creature that you're casting, or, I'm going to make a token of this as well as, you know, I'm saying a lot. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm going completely off the cuff with this one. It's again, it's another card that I feel is really undervalued in Commander, especially. I don't see it played a lot, but especially in a mill deck, I think this is such a crazy card, such a crazy effect to just be able to have. Finally, Vesuvian Duplimancy in the 4s. This is another newer pickup. It just lets me double up on Orvar's ability. And our last newer, like super, super new card is Precursor Golem. I realize that with Precursor Golem, it's kind of infinite value, right? So Precursor Golem comes in as a 5 cost, 3/3, but he comes in with 2 additional 3/3 bodies. But whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery spell that targets only a single golem, that player copies that spell for each other golem that spell could target. Each copy targets a different one of those golems. So when we cast something that targets Precursor Golem, it hits Orvar, it hits all of his tokens, and in the right situations, it hits Solemn, right? What we really, really care about is us hitting Precursor Golem with spells. Because if we hit Precursor Golem with, say, Leap, all right, if Orvar's out, that is 4 copies of Leap. So we're drawing 4 cards, but we're also getting a copy of Precursor Golem, and we are we are getting to get 3 additional bodies off of that. And we get to do Precursor's Golem effect again. So if we, after that, say, cast no, not Mind Bend. Mind Bend doesn't do anything in this situation. If we cast Mizium Skin, we get to target Precursor Golem. We get to target all of our golems twice because we have 2 Precursor Golems now. So you can see how this kind of gets very, very crazy very quickly. And if we're not sitting there, dead in the water, or we're a turn or two later and we still have this army, we can Shadow Rift. If we don't kill ourselves off of the draw, which we very might, might do, we might have Lab Man out. That might not be an issue. Or we can Shadow Rift, give all of our golems shadow so they're unblockable essentially, and we end the game there. Across the board, the deck is very low to the ground. It is very much so you are caring about the things that you are putting on the board. You're wanting to manipulate the amount of copies of 1 or 2 things that you can. I do still run Mystic Reflection in here because I do think that reactively and actively this is a really good card. Um, because worst case scenario, we cast Mystic Reflection. It says choose target non-legendary creature. The next time one or more creatures or planeswalkers enter the battlefield this turn, they enter as copies of the chosen creature. So hey, instead of you getting that important creature, it's going to come in as a copy of something else. You get no effects. Or for our situation, for our case, hey, the next time that a token would enter, I really enjoy this. Uh, next time a copy or next time a token would enter, instead they're going to be Master of Waves. So we're going to get. Oh yeah, it's equal to our devotion to blue. So let's say we've got 4 devotion to blue out. Hey, we're going to get 4 additional Master of Waves. That's going to make us 16 extra uh 0/1 blue elementals, and then all of those elementals are getting +4/+4. It kind of just goes again, this deck kind of wants to go wide and do really silly but really crazy things all at once. If we go back over here, we are running 29 instants. We're running 6 sorceries, 4 enchantments. Um, some of these, again, some of these are just pieces for us to get off the ground. Thran Dynamo, Swiftfoot Boots, Soul Ring are our typical mana base and mana doubler in the case of Cage Sun. We did put in Mirror Box. I really can't say that it's come up or has been useful in the time that it's been in the deck. I feel like I've only seen it a handful of times, and even then, in a lot of the situations where I get this, it's not thing around immediately, or it's too late. You know, I'm either drawing into this at the worst possible time, or I draw it, I play it, it dies. Um, Let me think. What else could we talk about here? I think, honestly, out of all of our creatures, I know I was singing praises of Precursor Golem and Rune Crab. We still consistently get the most value out of Wandering Archaic. Nobody expects this card, and then it becomes a kind of a gamble for the opponents. Do we pay the 2, or do we let him have a copy of whatever spell is getting cast? Do we let him, okay, it's fine, I'm going to cast Cultivate, you can go get 2 lands, but am I going to be really, really comfortable with you getting a copy of Behold the Multiverse? Not Behold the Multiverse. The black spell that hold on. I found it. Uh Breach the Multiverse is the card that I was thinking of. Do I really want to pay 2, or uh do I want to let the O'Hare player, or sorry, O'Hare, the Orvar player, get a copy of Breach the Multiverse? It's a very interesting conundrum that I do have to say, in most of my games it comes up and it's, oh, that's annoying. Oh, now he's got 4 of them. It really does become a very, a very interesting, a very nice thing for us to be able to start stealing our opponent's spells and being able to do things off of that. We still play things like Cerulean Wisp because untapping our creatures and drawing a card is very useful. Changing our creatures to blue most of the time doesn't come up. Chilling Trap. We always control a wizard as long as we have Orvar out, so this is also always drawing us a card. Displace because it saves our thing as well as making us a token. Same thing with Dive Down. Dream Grip is a really neat card that, honestly, I'll entwine it most of the time because we will have that, you know, that reducer, that, that 1 or 2 spell is cheaper effect. So tap something of yours, untap something of mine. I get to, you know, make a copy of it. Or I'll choose to tap target permanent and choose my Teferi's Ageless Insight and get 2 of them. This is another neat little card as I'm going through my instance here. Latnam's Legacy. We choose a card in our hand, shuffle it away, and then we get to draw 2 cards at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. This is good card selection. It really does help out when you have kind of a dead card in hand, and it just lets you filter that and then hopefully draw into something more useful. Magical Hack is super neat because it doesn't say until end of turn. So in most situations, we will say, "Oh, hey, I'm going to turn off your Cabal Coffers. Oh, hey, I'm going to turn off your I'm going to make your Valakut say whenever an island comes into play." You get to do silly things like that, as well as it does help you protect yourself. Again, it says, for an example, you can change Swamp Walk to Planeswalk. You can do things like that. It's a very versatile card. I like this card. Same thing with Mind Bend. It's another. This doesn't end at the end of turn, so we get to change the text of a target permanent by replacing all instances. Oh wait, does this say? Yeah, no, spell or permanent. Okay, I I I wanted to make sure that it wasn't just creature on that one. I apologize, but again, change the text of target permanent by replacing all instances of one color word or basic land type with another. So, oh, you are now protection from black instead of protection from green. It's very unfortunate for you. Mind games. It This card is probably one of the next on the cutting board because it was in here for me to um hate to say it, but it was in here when I was playing this deck with a bit of a need for an infinite combo because it was mind games into Peregrine Drake because we'd be able to buy it back for a total cost of 4 mana. Peregrine Drake was untapping 5 lands. We're making infinite Peregrine Drakes, making semi-infinite blue mana, but if I didn't have something to do with that, I was just dirtling. If I did get to go infinite, it was because I'd have Mind Games, Peregrine Drake, and where is he? Archmage and Metreus. Because anytime that we cast or copy an instant or sorcery, we'd get to draw a card. It's fine. It's not that great. Again, it's gonna be one of my next cuts. The only thing that's keeping it in here is it is a 1 drop, or we can pay again for 4 and keep it that we can tap something. When we tap something, in a lot of situations, we're tapping our own things to get a copy of it. So it's not the worst thing in the world. Mizium Skin, it's a good card across the board. I did switch out something for Oven Eyes because I felt like changing something into a 0/1 and losing all abilities was super nice. Um, Shimmering Mirage is another really nice thing because we can. It's a specific land targeter. So if we don't have Mind Bend or Magical Hack, we do have Shimmering Mirage, so we can stall them for a turn. Um, Actually, no, it doesn't. I lied. We get to target our own thing or turn something into another land type to stall them for a turn. It's not as good as Magical Hack because it is just changing it to another land type. It's not changing the text, but it's still a nice card. It also draws a card. But I appreciate everybody who does come out and check out our Minute Deck Tech. I hope that this gives you a little bit of an insight into how we built the deck, as well as some of our kind of interesting cards that we've entered in here uh, within the last couple of years. But that's going to be it for now. Let me know what you think if you want to see another one of our decks that we've built as a Minute Deck Tech or as a regular deck tech. We'll link not only our Mox Field, but we'll link this Architect link for this deck in the description down below. We hope to see everybody in the next video. Bye, guys.